I'm Vic Fernandes, and this is Unplugged, where I share some very intimate and personal stories. And I hope that by sharing some of these stories, some of you might be able to draw parallels and be able to overcome some of the challenges that you may face too in your life. In my earlier program, my last program, I talked about my dad leaving at the age of 3 and not seeing him again until I had passed for Combermere School some years later. And then I saw him the following year too as well. And I don't remember a lot between age 3, but I do remember that experience at age 3. But I do remember the people who played a part and who were influences in your life. Yes, there was a stepfather, but that is exactly what it was, a stepfather. And you had a sense of knowing that you didn't really belong if you're in the presence of your stepfather and someone says to him, boy, you have a lot of kids. How many do you have? And he says 6, and you know that you can count, and there are 8 of you. So you know the 2 that were there before did not really belong. And that may affect you in different ways. In my case, it just made me stronger, I believe, and more resolute that I had to, as the Guyanese would say, paddle my own canoe. But there were people in my life who I thought played a great part and for whom I will be eternally indebted. And one was, interestingly, my stepfather's brother. Uncle Eric was a great guy, passed away not too long ago. And I got to tell you that spending time at my step-grandmother's house as a kid, I have very fond memories of him working at what was then Cable and Wireless and coming home late at night and bringing a little chocolate and kind of like it was your secret and his. Don't let Miss G know about this, just hide it. And you had that little secret. And those little things made a huge difference to how you felt as a child. You felt as if you belonged, as if someone loved you, as if someone cared for you. I don't remember a lot about Christmas presents, but I do remember one in particular. Again, a gift from Uncle Eric. And it was a fire truck. And that fire truck, I remember Christmas morning going out into the yard with this fire truck and playing with this thing. It was an incredible feeling having that fire truck. But more importantly, having someone care for you enough to provide that fire truck for you. As I said, he was a great guy, and I'm eternally grateful to him for the kindnesses that he brought to me in my life. So in the absence of my father, there were people like Uncle Eric, and in another program, I will talk about Captain Bertie Selby, Uncle Bertie, as he was known to me and to others. The church was also a great foundation, and the priest and the brothers also provided that level of guidance and support. So becoming an acolyte in the Catholic Church was a natural progression for me, having done First Communion and Confirmation. And I looked forward to it. I'm not sure why I looked forward to it that much. Being there at Mass on a Sunday morning, and again, mid-morning, and again in the afternoon, serving multiple Masses on a Sunday, serving Mass during the week too as well at 6:30 in the morning before going to school. But in a sense, I believe that having those experiences allowed me to connect in a way that perhaps made up for the things that were missing in your life at home, in particular, that father figure. I didn't go to a private school. I went to St. Giles. And from St. Giles, I passed for Combermere. And I spent 2.5 years in Waterford before my mom then transferred me to Presentation College. And that, for me, was the greatest experience of my young life. We'll talk a little bit about Presentation College and the experiences there and how that influenced my life and how the Irish brothers who were there had a profound impact on those who came into contact with them. But for today, I just wanted to share this whole idea of the influences, the people that made a difference. They say it takes a village to raise a child. So in my case, I probably did have that village, made up largely of women. My mother, my Aunt Martina, my Aunt Lucy, and my grandmother, my maternal grandmother, Esther Ordain. But I also had one other father figure in my life, and that was Hans Stetcher, Uncle Johnny, my godfather, who ran a series of very high-end jewelry stores in Trinidad and Tobago. And he played a key role in my life too as well, on my frequent visits to Trinidad and my interactions with him. And we kept that bond up until he died. And I would visit him in Trinidad in his latter years and spend quality time with him. Occasionally, we would take him out to lunch, my wife Farida, Rebecca, and I. He was a great influence, a great stabilizing force. And in the absence of my dad, he provided a lot of that support too as well. Which is not to say that my father was absent completely. As I said in my previous program, he was absent physically, but he wasn't absent. He wrote letters. But when you're a kid at 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 and 9, the letters, yes, they're important, but not seeing that person, and particularly when there's a substitute for that person in your life, is a very difficult proposition. I'm Vic Fernandes, and this is Unplugged. Join me again. I won't necessarily follow a sequence that is chronological, because I don't want this to be about a chronology of life, but a variety of experiences that I can share. Some are humorous. These have been a little heavy, but some are humorous. And humor has been a critical component of my life and will always remain so. Unplugged. Until next time, I'm Vic Fernandes.